Hello and welcome to another video inside the training portal, and in today's video I'm going to be addressing how to schedule the leads as they come in, as well as best follow-up practices and what we've seen work in the industry for people that do well with online lead generation. So I want to dive straight into it. There's a few things that differentiate the people that do well with online lead generation versus the people who say that online lead generation doesn't really work. Now, that is calling the lead within a reasonable time frame so they actually answer the phone. Okay, no matter, this is one thing that people fail to realize, but most people actually don't pick up the phone to unknown numbers, which means that if they forget or if it's out of their mind that they're expecting a phone call from a certain phone number, they're most probably not going to pick up. Now, there are going to be obviously instances where people will pick up even a few days later, but the best practices within the industry is that you give them a call as soon as the lead comes in, or 3 to 5 minutes will be obviously best. Now, that will drastically increase your chances of getting a hold of the person and scheduling that person in for an in-home visit. Okay, so doesn't matter what sort of application the person has filled out or how much time they've spent filling out that application, and what they know about your company. If you do not call them at an appropriate time, or for example, if you call them, too late in the evening or too early in the morning, uh, you know, or if you don't, or if you call them the next day even, your chances of getting a hold of that person drastically decrease. And so, to make sure that doesn't happen, you want to make sure that you follow the industry guidelines, which is as soon as you see somebody come into your phone as a text message notification, or you get an email notification, or you see somebody a lead populates into your CRM, you give them a call as soon as you see that. So that's the first thing, and I would genuinely say this is probably the most important thing, because in the follow-up sequence that we use, the first message that goes out is we actually let people know as soon as they fill out the application, an automated text message they receive straight away, letting them know the phone number that somebody from the company is going to be contacting them from. So make sure which leads to my second point. Make sure that you give that person a call from the same number that we've left in the text message, or the same number they are already familiar with, and you should be okay with you shouldn't have a problem getting a hold of them. Now, there are going to be leads, of course, that don't pick up the phone. They're just that sort of people, and so we don't worry about them. Okay, there are people who will fill out the application. Doesn't matter what they go through. They might be filling out their credit score, how much money they make, and all that sort of stuff. Right? They might spend 10 minutes filling out the application, and they will still not pick up the phone. That's just who they are. Okay, it doesn't matter what the offer is. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so those aren't the people that we should be concerned about. Main thing we should be concerned about is following up with scheduling the leads. Giving the leads a call as soon as they come in, and using the same phone number that we've left in the text sequence. And number 3 would be following up with the lead. So even if, for example, they do not, you fail to get a hold of them right then and there as soon as they filled out the application. Let's say you've seen that the person has just filled out the application, and you want to give them a call to have the best chances of getting a hold of that person. But for whatever reason, you've done everything right up until this point, but for whatever reason, they still don't pick up the phone. So what you do then is you want to make sure that you put them down into your CRM. And that's what the CRMs are for. You're also going to get a Google Sheet and the login details to your own CRM, which we provide you with. So even if you've done everything right and they still haven't answered their phone as soon as you gave them a call once they filled out the form, make sure you keep track of how many times you've tried to contact that person inside your CRM. Because more often than not, people are probably not going to be available at the time of when they actually filled out the form. Because let's be honest, I mean, just because they filled out the form, that doesn't mean that they're available now. That might be the case, but it also might be the case where they're literally in the bathroom, on their phone, which is what happens to most people, and that's when they happen to fill out the form. So if you call them there, in the toilet, they're most probably not going to pick up the phone. As well as, there's a lot of people that are doing this at work. They're actually supposed to be working, but for whatever reason, they happen to be on their phones, and you try to give them a call. Then obviously they won't answer. That doesn't mean that they're not interested. It just means that's how you should interpret it. Call back at another time. Okay? So, and that's exactly what you should be doing. Call back at another time. If when they filled out the form, they're not available, then you leave a text message, as well as you send them a text which they might reply to, because once again, if they're at work, they might be able to text but not have a full-blown conversation about whether or not they want to go solar. I hope that makes sense. These are kind of like my pointers that I wanted to give for this video. There's more coming out in other videos, so be on the lookout for that. But this is probably the most important part of the training that maybe you should either rewatch, or if you get the point, I mean, just take that into account, that even though the person has filled out the form and you think that's when they should be available, that might not be the case. There's a lot of people that are doing that inside, meetings and, places where they can physically not pick up the phone and have a full-blown conversation with you. So I hope you found this helpful. Once again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us or send us an email and we'll schedule a call if you want to talk about something. But make sure you follow that everything that I've laid out in this video, and I'll see you again in the next one.